And then God says, I have something I've designed you for. I have a plan for you. Like Jack Wurtson said, it's the goal of every believer to reach their generation for Christ. God says, I have designed you for something no one else can do. I've placed you in a family. You didn't pick your family. You didn't pick your parents. You didn't pick where you live. I picked it. And I put you there, and I designed you with your unchangeable parts. Remember Psalm 139 says that? That God wove us together. And it doesn't just stop with that. It says, and he wrote in his book every day of our life. He has a plan. And he wants to lead us through it. And all we have to do is check in with him, focus on him, say, I'm ready to obey, and I will follow you. Usually his plan is very hard. Do you know how Paul described the Christian life in Greek? He called it agonizomai. Now, how many of you can understand that Greek word? What does it sound like? Agony. Isn't that neat? It's one of those, there are many of those words that go right from the Greek language into the English language. Just, do you know what he called the Christian life? Soon agonizomi. Soon, S-U-N, is a preposition. It means with. With agony. He called Christians fellow agonizers. So we agonize together through life. How do we do it? We are called to do something that's impossible, that's agonizing. We're supposed to, as Jesus said, take up our cross and die daily. Crucifixion was the most prolonged, agonizing death that they could figure out in the ancient world. Crucifixion. And Jesus picked the most cruel, horrific, protracted, painful mechanism of the most feared thing. Humans fear death, Hebrews 2 says. But Christ came to free us from the fear of death by telling us he wants us to die daily and live for him. How do we do that? By him supplying us. This is what grace is. This idea, this daily bread, you can look on it as, I want you to give me enough to make it through today. Now, someone came up to me after one of the services and said, like manna. I said, don't get me. I can go off in every direction. Yes, it's like manna. Yes, they were only supposed to collect enough in their little pot for that day, and if they collected too much, what did it do? It turned to worms. That's not what we're supposed to do. Ask God to give me strength for a week, just for today. God, supply me so I can see your hand in my life. Then I need God to cleanse me. We saw that yesterday. Forgive us our trespasses. But boy, today, do we ever need God to protect us. Why? This is what Jesus said. The thief doesn't come. He's talking about Jesus is the good shepherd, and then the opposite of that is the false shepherd, the bad shepherd, what we later will see as the Antichrist. It's always the polar opposite. It's Satan. He's the thief. And he's the one that steals away the word when it's being sown, and he's the one that only comes to steal, to kill, and to destroy. Satan is a destroyer and a thief and a liar, and he just wants to ruin God's plan. And we happen to be the vehicles of God's plan. So he wants to ruin us. Jesus, on the other hand, says, I have come to give you life, and I don't just want you to have life. I want you to have what John 7, 3 chapters before, starting in verse 37 says, is an overflowing life. I want you to be like what I said a couple days ago, a fire hydrant in the desert. And Satan says, I want to crank that thing off. I want you to say, no, I'm not going to let any of that out. I'm going to hold it for myself. And Satan just wants to steal our joy and our peace and our hope and kill our effectiveness. Every time we ask the Lord to supply us with his grace and we say no to fear, we've just neutralized one of Satan's attacks. And we say no to lust, we've neutralized one of Satan's attacks. He wants to kill that effectiveness of God in our life. He doesn't want us to ask for the supply. He doesn't want us to ask for the control. He wants us to not have the abundant Christian life. Do you know it's very hard to resist an abundant, overflowing Christian's life? People see it. They talk to you. They go to school with you. They live by you and by me. And the unsaved ones sense and observe this abundant life that Christ just flows out of us.